it's time for a death battle!
Oh, God, Pixel.
Where are you going?
Why is this
That's not your business.
Where are you
Turn back.
Why?
I'll end this quickly.
Oh, here we go. That's awesome. Okay.
Alright, Sauske, you got him.
Okay, we got the Renegon out. Oh yeah, the places and objects.
No match.
They sound exactly like
Yeah, that's too early.
Yeah.
Third eye. Never mind.
Shotting down the it's not gonna work.
Because I don't remember them talking about him
he's
like
Right.
having any kind of resistance or same kind of powers, like mental powers.
How interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
There it is.
He should be able to break it.
There it
Wait, he
is.
could stand and survive that?
No, that's an illusion.
How?
Come on, Sauske. Sauske.
Real good.
Come on. Come on, Sauske. Boy, Naruto won this.
Not yet.
Body it.
Yeah, here we go.
You got Susanoo.
That's some of the sticks though. Like, I've seen worse.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when you go this far, it's getting close to the end of the battle.
Mr. Schnoz out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Gets the eye. Wait, no,
Come here. Dragon.
Oh, it's going down.
Okay, yeah, to get them to turn around. This is it though, like, this is a flash.
Uh-oh.
Put you to rest. They gonna flip it around? Yeah. And that's when it's gonna happen. Oh no, maybe they...
Who's taking it? This is it. This is the flash.
Final fight.
Okay, he's taking it. This is it.
That'd be crazy.
They both fucked up.
Both pretty.
Oh no, wait.
We back.
Fit for a demon.
Hey, really good.
Wait, really? I thought this was an easy win for Sauske. What happened?
Well, hold on. I promise there's a good explanation. This was an extremely close match. Sasuke was certainly faster than Hiei, given his light speed reactions through scaling to Naruto. And technically he went through superior training, so there's certainly a few versions of this fight where he could use those advantages to take the win.
But we're always looking for who has the best chances to win most often, not just in very specific situations.
Exactly. At first glance, it's easy to assume Sasuke's enormous and varied arsenal could have simply overwhelmed Hiei. But to our surprise, Hiei had perfect counters for almost everything Sasuke could throw at him. Being a fire and ice demon hybrid with elemental resistances, he's powered through electrical attacks like the Chidori before, and his fire immunity and oneness with the darkness flame turned the devastating Amaterasu into a mere annoyance.
That's true.
Sasuke's Rinnegan gave him gravity control, and that Sharingan Genjutsu was pretty brutal. But Hiei's Dagon gave him telekinesis and mental protections, putting the brakes on Sasuke's eye shenanigans. Even if Sasuke tried using human path on him to rip out his soul, it wouldn't have mattered, because Hiei could keep fighting as a ghost!
And frankly, it's unlikely Sasuke was that much faster. While Hiei could outpace Lightning at C-Class, the difference between Spirit classes is far greater than a simple 100 or 200% increase. After all, a lower S-Class could beat 3 A-Class fighters without much effort, and Hiei is an upper S-Class. But most surprisingly, Hiei's level of power surpassed Sasuke's.
No friggin' way.
Let's look at the Susanoo's meteor feat. By measuring the meteor's size compared to the Susanoo and applying sheer force, we determined this feat equaled about 364 teratons of TNT at most.
In scientific terms, that's a hell of a lot. And obviously, scaling to Naruto means he could take a hit worth 27 exatons. How could Hiei top that?
Well, recall how there were multiple claims that S-Class demons could obliterate the Earth. Since most fights took place in the demon world, which is much hardier than the human one, these claims were difficult to prove and seemed a little dubious.
Until Yusuke fought Yomi and they made that gigantic explosion.
As we determined earlier, that blast was at least 4.5 million meters tall. At minimum, the kinetic energy of an explosion like this would equal about 285 zetatons of TNT.
That's 21 zeros. Way more than Sasuke's meteor feat. Even if we half it, because there's 2 people doing the punching, that's still over 5,000 times greater than the Naruto moon slice.
It's probably even more impressive than that. If the tree is actually closer to the clouds and therefore closer to the planet, that technically changes the shot's perspective, which would mean the tree is actually even wider, the explosion even larger, and thus the kinetic energy even greater.
So when Genkai said an S-Class demon like Yusuke or Hiei could wipe out a planet, she wasn't kidding
But to be
around.
fair, that was
Correct. While Sasuke is equal to being powerful enough to slice and shift,
I don't know,
he still
man.
could not match Hiei's strength.
give
Even
it
if
to
Hiei was only half as strong as Yusuke, this would still put him well above Sasuke in terms of sheer power output and durability.
That is
So while Sasuke was still faster, he had a real tough time trying to land a fatal blow.
There were a lot of factors in this fight, and Sasuke certainly clinched several advantages of his own. But in the end, Hiei's impeccable abilities, perfect counters, and clearly superior power took the victory.
Sasuke lost the edge and was a Sharin gunner.
The winner is Hiei.
I'm not mad at
Hey, thanks for watching this episode. If you want to battle for yourself, you
thought
can
he was
click
gonna
the link
win
down
based
below.
on what my
And if you just
I
want to
talked
enough
for
death
like an
battles,
hour
make sure you
and
click the link over
like,
there and just watch it.
That's a video or an Alucard?
What is Ganondorf?
It is Transformers Ganondorf!